You need to care like about the product, about users who will be using the app. You need to care about their experience. Like you cannot be just like whatever, I did my 9 to 5 and that's it. You need to like care about, people are going to be using your product. It's like you're making bread or whatever. Like you want people to enjoy your product. It's very similar, I think, with software engineering and application and as such.
So you can shortly explain for the intro video what's your role as a senior software engineer at DECODE?
Well, I'd say like most importantly, like doing anything project related, whether it's code reviews or dealing with problems, dealing with bug fixes, obviously developing like new features, and also communicating with other teams, product teams, design teams, in order to make sure that like the thing that we are going to work on, that we are going to be developing, that it's like the best balance between like user experience and the technical side of things. So I'd say that's like the gist of it.
You also manage your own team, right?
Yes, that's true. Yeah, I do have 5 people in my team, and I'm a team leader. So on that side of things, I like manage them. We have general 2-week checkups and one-on-ones. I like continually check on their progress and basically just work with them and help them where I can in order to make sure that they improve where they can improve, and basically if there are any problems, so we can tackle them as quickly as possible, and those sorts of things.
So I'm a senior software developer working here at DECODE for 4 years. I build web applications for our clients, both in front-end and back-end part. I mentor junior developers so they can work on their projects. I also collaborate a lot with designers, with PMs, QA team, other developers, to develop the best applications as we can for our clients.
Yeah, basically I am a senior software engineer specializing in mobile, so my job is twofold. I work on projects and I am a team lead, so I manage mobile team iOS.
Yeah, I'd say as soon as possible. It cannot be soon enough. Really, I think, because the sooner you bring your thoughts and your experiences and your like view from the technical side of things, it's easier for other teams, product teams, design teams, and whatnot, to like make decisions and make designs and whatever they're doing based off of your inputs. For example, there are instances that I witnessed that clients come to us wanting to build an app with React Native or Flutter or whatever cross-platform framework they want to use, just because they've heard that you don't need 2 teams to develop an app. You can have 1 team develop both Android and iOS app. But there are instances where it just doesn't make sense, because if your app is feature heavy in a way that it's heavily reliant on hardware stuff, for example, Bluetooth communication, camera control or something like that, you will need to like make your React Native, say, app much more complex, because you need to move things down to native level, develop things there, and then communicate it back up to React Native level, which is really a pain to develop. It introduces complexities which shouldn't be there, and it really makes much more sense to have the app developed natively, like both iOS and Android. Maybe you'll spend a bit more time because you need 2 teams, obviously, to develop it. But in the end, I think it's appropriate, because basically you'll have down the line you'll have much more. You'll be much more likely to have issues that you wouldn't normally have if you built a native app and stuff like that. Yeah, that's just one like example, but there are a lot of cases when you can have a good input on whether something maybe should be built immediately in the MVP phase, or maybe it should be left for the other phase of the app. And yeah, generally just to make sure that the foundation is laid properly.
So yeah, definitely the best time that the software engineer must be involved in the project is right from the start. The reason is that they have a particular set of skills that the other team members do not have. Most importantly, they know how to, from the technical standpoint, how to set up the architecture of the project, and they listen to the client and the product manager, and they know how it will be built, and they think like a lot in the future, and they know what will be the challenges in a year or two after the project is ongoing, and some other team members don't know that yet because they have a lot of experience from the previous projects. They know about this stuff.
In your opinion, what is a product management engineer? How can we recognize one? How does he behave or she? How does the client see if someone is product manager? Your opinion on?
Yeah, basically, I think the answer is really simple. Product-minded engineer doesn't hop on a task without questions, doesn't just start coding, doesn't deliver something blindly, but always thinks about the request, thinks about how it will fit in the bigger picture, steps back and looks at the current state of the project, looks back on the current state of the code, and decides if everything is straightforward or something needs rethinking, if there are some unanswered questions, either if the user experience is not well defined, or maybe if adding a feature might introduce some issues that were not thought of before, because clients are usually non-technical, so they have a nice idea, but they can't really see how that idea can be embedded into the project and how dangerous it might be. So basically we need to step back and look at the complete solution, look at all the consequences of the implementation, and maybe ask more questions to see if the feature is ready, if we should just go ahead start implementing something, or we should maybe step back and better define some things before starting work.
How would you describe a product management engineer in simple terms? He's
a person, an engineer who cares about the thing that he's working on, the product, the application, whatever it is. So as I said, you need to care about the product, about users who will be using the app. You need to care about their experience. You cannot be just whatever, I did my 9 to 5 and that's it. You need to care about, people are going to be using your product. It's like you're making bread or whatever. You want people to enjoy your product. It's very similar, I think, with software engineering and application and as such. I think it's it should be normal for you to tend to think that way and to make sure that your application behaves correctly. Sometimes it just, for whatever reason, it cannot be made better or not, at least not soon enough. But at least your job is to raise your voice and raise concerns or raise questions. Obviously, you shouldn't also be obnoxious about it and raise questions everywhere and be obnoxious about it. But where you see fit and where you see that it can negatively affect user experience or positively, whatever it is, you need to raise your voice. And it's hard sometimes for us developers, because usually we are introverted. We like staying behind our monitors, more of them better. Nobody sees you. And yeah, just to deal with technical issues, and you want your code to be nice and readable and everything. That's it should be that way. But there's need to be balance. You cannot make things worse for users in order for your code to look better. For example, it's not always obvious like that, but that's like the idea. I think a lot of it like lays on the shoulders of a leader, because from my experience, people like tend to have issues, have complaints, have questions, and they are likely to share those with their like peers. But you need to be open to your team for anything, whether bad or good, and then obviously you need to listen to them. But more importantly, I think you need to like take actions, because if you just, and I've seen it like instances where stuff gets ignored, questions like get put down the rug, or just plainly ignored, and it makes people like mad about it. And honestly, any of us would be mad. I would be mad. And then me, since I'm in that role, I really try to really take time to listen to people, whether it's like in a group of us where everybody gets to raise their voice, or just like sitting down one-on-one with people, because sometimes it's just something that somebody is not comfortable with sharing with everybody. So it's important that you give people time so they can raise their voices in a group environment and also in one-on-one environment. And then you actually need to make sure that you follow up on everything that you, especially if you promise something, you need to follow up. I mean, you can't 100% like do and like do everything that you promised. It's life. It happens that circumstances change, and you need to like go a different route, I don't know, but you need to make sure that you communicate that back to that person, so they know that you changed your mind and why you changed your mind, basically.
So let's say I have a new feature request. What you definitely need to think before writing any code is look at the current state of the code base, look at the current state of project. I definitely want to write a high-level design document that's a high-level overview of the feature, the implementation, the user experiences, and so on. After that, we discuss it with the team to see if anyone has some valuable input, something maybe whoever was writing the high-level design document has forgotten. And when that is polished, then I like to write the design spec with the low-level, more detailed design. So which parts of the code should be affected, what should be written, how it should be added to the current code base, what needs changing. I really want to make sure that piece of work is ready to start, meaning that design is finished, the API, so the server work is finished, or at least we have agreed upon contract what it will look like, so we don't have any mismatches after we do the work on the mobile side. Also very important is to define the test strategy, to see what needs to be tested, how it needs to be tested, can it be tested. We need to think of all the edge cases that need to be handled and taken care of, because basically when you think of a feature, you basically think of a happy path at most times. So this is what it needs to be done, this is how it will work. But when you step back and think about it, you can think of have thousands of ifs that can happen, and you really need to think about it and define.
Yeah, I like that question, and fortunately I've been working on this project for some time now, and they have a great thing called whiteboards there, and it directly tackles the questions that you asked. So basically what it is before you actually start coding, you get like a rough specification, not necessarily rough, there can be some specifics in there, but basically you get that specification as a developer, and then you get allotted with time where you can spend the time making a proof of concept, like writing any questions or concerns that you have. And it goes for like backend engineers and client engineers. And then we have a meeting where everybody is gathered, engineers, QAs, designers, whoever is relevant. And then we raise our concerns, we ask questions, we basically make sure that everything is straightened out before we actually start developing. Obviously, things happen while developing which nobody could have foreseen, but even in those cases you need to as soon as possible you need to make sure that you raise your voice and push things up toward like design level or product teams or whoever it is, like depending on the issue you're having, so you tackle things rather sooner than later. So yeah, that's the approach that I really like, and it does require like time for that, but maybe if you're not like fortunate enough, I guess, to have that time, at least like you're obligated to read through the specification, like look at the design and just make sure that you understand it properly, and then you can just think about how it fits into the rest of the code base, and then like try to think of any edge cases, any scenarios that might break where other teams, design teams for example, didn't think of, and yeah, just make sure that you raise those concerns as soon as possible.
The number one thing, the most important thing, is the code review that every developer on a serious project needs to needs to be a part of. This is the way that we developers can give other developers feedback on their code. This is number one. The second thing is the writing of tests. The tests ensure that the code which was previously written will not fail if we push some other code and unintentionally break some feature that was previously working. We ensure that using tests, unit tests, end-to-end tests in front-end integration tests, that's also one of the things that important projects, big projects needs to have. We need to have a good architecture in the code. We cannot have a file structure which is everywhere. Some code is one file, one other code is in another file. We need to have everything in their own place. That's also important. The fourth thing that comes to mind is the documentation. Everything must be very well documented, communicated, how things work in the code. What does this function do? What does this method do? What's this variable for? So that's also a pretty important thing. So code review, testing, modularity, architecture, and documentation, communication in the code.
I think I would like to define and talk the testing strategy with quality assurance engineers to maybe pinpoint some things I think need testing, and maybe from my development insight can see some edge cases that might need checking that may not be very obvious. So basically I like to go through those items.
Okay, you mentioned testing before, relationship to QAs. Can you further explain how should an engineer work with QAs? In your opinion, how important they are in complex projects?
I think engineers should talk to QA, should explain what has been done. By that, I don't mean to instruct them, hey, don't look at this, this is fine, but basically maybe point your ideas about dangers of a certain feature, listen to them, ask for their input, what they think is important, but also I think it's very important that QA engineer understands the solution, just like a developer does. So they can basically decide and see in testing if there is an issue, or let's say something is expected but maybe looks a bit odd. So I think they should know the solution just as good as a developer. Maybe sometimes even better because they test the complete application. So maybe the engineers know part of the solution, but I think QA should really be familiar with the complete solution. And I've seen it numerous times. I basically ask QA engineers some questions about the solution I didn't know, and they were able to help me.
When I work with the QA team, we're always kind of fighting each other. So if you know what I mean, when I develop something, the QA team sometimes finds an issue with my code, which I have to fix. But if I work perfectly, then they don't need to do anything, and then they are doing their bad job, right? Because they are not finding any bugs. So we're always somehow clashing one another. But it's important because without the QA team on this huge project that we're working on from day to day, we would not deliver a great product. I mean, there would always be some bugs. Coding is really complex. You always cannot cover every single edge case that there is, and you somehow miss some small bug you created, and the QA ensures that you fix that and deliver.
A big part of it truly is like individual performance, but it does not come like falling from the sky. We have a lot of good engineers in DECODE, but it all like started from the beginning, from the base, where our founders Mario, Marko, and Petar were the ones who started the company and transferred their knowledge and their ideas and everything to us others who came after them. And then just all of us, as time went on, we made sure that as people came into DECODE, that we transfer all the knowledge that we can to them. And usually it's just while like working on a project. It's not something specific that we have time allotted for, I don't know, although we do have tech talks and stuff like that. But I think it's more important that we, or how we like approach things, or how we do our day-to-day, and how our senior developers and their individual like expertise is transferred to other people. And I think that's just something that's inherently built into the code, either by chance or by I don't know how exactly, because I've been here a long time and we didn't have, as I said, like specific instructions for people to transfer their knowledge down to other people. It's just something that's, I guess, natively came with people, and then just it spread across teams, across other people. And now we have a company with a lot of people, not just a few, but a lot of people that are like productive. You can rely on them. You can question them. We are here to help each other and like just make sure that we are working well as a team. So I guess I see that way.
I think the magic is that we have a company culture that makes that possible. I think it's we hopefully show the team members how something should be done, how to approach work, how to deliver, and I think basically people just adopt that by looking around themselves. So we care for our products, we care for each other, and I think that results in quality work delivered.
So across my career, I worked on the multiple projects across industries, and one specific case that I had, which is really interesting to me, is that the client wanted me to mix random data from different pages in our front-end application that we worked on. So they wanted to show data that belonged on one page, on second page, third page, and data that belonged on third page to be shown on the first page. They wanted to mix everything up, which really didn't go well with the code that I was developing, because the code was kind of implemented in that way that every page had its own file, folder, and so on. And I had to somehow try to find an alternative to that to give the client what they want, but not ruin my code, so to say. So I proposed, okay, let's create another page. Let's put all of these things on that fourth page, and it will be much easier for me to build another folder with other files and put everything in there, instead of just mixing everything up and linking everything up in the code. So, and they agreed on that.
Could that be prevented in the beginning, or was it?
I mean, when I initially created this project, I was planning that they wouldn't mix things up, that every page would be on their own, right? So I didn't think that they would want to crisscross everything around. So yeah, I don't think that was a good idea from their side. So, but yeah, they agreed on what I proposed, and it worked well on both code-wise and the client side, the user side.
It happened a few times that, for example, designers came with designs which matched Android and iOS, which at first seems like a good idea, but actually in a lot of cases it isn't. Because, for example, I, as an Android developer, get a design that natively fits an iOS application. And then what it means that I, as an Android developer, need to create a custom component to match the iOS styling or experience. So it's hard to implement. It's usually tricky. You need to maintain it, and it's just not like a native experience for user. And then, those were the instances where I intervened and talked to the design teams, the product teams. So we made sure that we use native components, which are, as the name said, it's native, and it's normal practice, like expected for users to use such components. For example, calendar components or dialog components, pop-ups or whatever, because they see it across other apps. It's like natural for them. So yeah, stuff like that. So basically making sure that you see and make sure that you actually intervene at the right time. Sometimes it's just not the case. I mean, for whatever reason they want a custom component and you need to build it, but yeah, you need to make sure that they understand all the consequences that come with it.
So basically, we most importantly, we always try to keep the client informed and involved in all decisions. We communicate all the status updates, possible problems. We have internal daily meetings, we have weekly meetings, we have meetings with clients. We very much like for our developers to communicate directly with clients, because that's the easiest and the best way to iterate on ideas and solve questions. Because if it goes through project managers and so on, it both takes more time, and I think information can be lost in the process, especially if there's difference in technical expertise in some parts of the communications channel. So I think it's very important to communicate with clients directly, but also when the conclusion is reached, it is also important to notify all the stakeholders in the process of the results, so all the decisions can be approved and scheduled appropriately, so everybody is aware of the final results.
Yeah. First of all, you need to make sure that a person is properly, I guess, educated and has the experience and knowledge that we need. If you don't have that, it just it's not going to work. But the not so obvious side is I take it as a gut feeling when I interview people. Obviously, as I said, I need to make sure that they have the knowledge that we need. But there's also that gut feeling that you know that that person is going to be, as you said, humble, and is not going to be arrogant, and you will be able to work with that person. To we all of us have issues, all of us have holes in our knowledge, but yeah, you need to make sure that people that are coming into your company are willing to learn, are willing to listen to new ideas, are willing to change their perspective, change their thinking or whatever it is. Just make sure that the person is here on the ground, humble, and it's so you can basically fit it into the rest of the team, and it's not going to make or cause problems. So that's true. That's true. We do filter it, but it's I take it as a gut feeling. It's you have an hour maybe with a person, and it's hard to know person deeply or get to know them deeply. But that's why I guess you need to use that gut feeling, as obviously other factors like knowledge and everything, to make sure that that person is going to fit well with the rest of us here.
How should a software engineer approach AI? How should he use it?
Cautiously. So I remember, as I have a long experience, there used to be a lot of talk about taking solutions from the internet. The most important site was Stack Overflow, and young engineers used to just take code, copy, paste. If it works, commit, move on. It was always important to educate colleagues that it's perfectly okay to look for solutions, to investigate, but what you really need to do is understand what you take. So what you embed into the project, you really must try to understand what the code does. I think AI is even more useful than Stack Overflow because it does a lot of research for you, should be utilized by you daily. However, you must be careful not to fall into the trap of just using it blindly and not understanding what it does for you. So you have to use it wisely as a tool and keep on top of all the changes that are introduced. I think that's very important.
I guess the most important thing is think hard about who you're going to bring into your team. That's usually makes it or breaks it. You can if you have one person who I guess doesn't behave correctly, it can bring strife, it can bring confusion, it can bring all sorts of problems in a team. So definitely you need to make sure that the people you're bringing into are obviously skilled enough to do the work that it's required, but also that they are normal, I guess, enough so you can work with them and talk to them and discuss with them and question their ideas and basically just communicate with them in a normal manner. So that's I think critical. And also once you set up a team, I think it's also critical that you are there, that you're present, that you make sure that people's questions and concerns and everything is heard and dealt with. So basically, those two things are the most important, I say.
If you're building a project, if you are building a team who will be working on that project, you have to make sure that every member of that team that none of the members of that team are left behind, that everyone can give their ideas, give their suggestions, give feedback. You have to ask for feedback, you have to give them feedback. Everyone needs to be on the same page for the whole team to work together and to work efficiently and to deliver great product.